Dot and Bubble. In all honesty, I have very mixed feelings about this episode. At the beginning, it seems like it's going to be quite middle of the road, and it really was, up until the last 10 minutes, where it revealed its true colours and revealed what's truly beneath it all. But does saving it in the last 10 minutes make it a good story? Well, let's talk about that. I suppose we should probably begin with the most prominent part of this episode, and that is, of course, its themes. I mean, from the get-go, it's obvious that this is a commentary on people having Twitter circles, TikTok, echo chambers, all sorts of stuff that Gen Z is now associated with, and used to kind of shield themselves from the outside world. I think it's mainly echo chambers and Twitter circles in particular, with a little bit of TikTok flavouring added in there with Ricky September's inclusion. It's quite accurate, not gonna lie. Nowadays, a lot of people do just shut themselves inside of echo chambers, particularly in their Twitter circles, so they don't come into contact with ideas that shatter their worldview. But by the end, this entire idea is kind of flipped on its head when it's revealed that they're a society of massive racists. And I think, like many people, I was shocked and thought, whoa, this is out of nowhere, what the hell's going on? But it's really not. I mean, particularly early on, if you go back and rewatch it, the signs are entirely there, especially if you're thinking, okay, Lindy's a racist. Let's look for some signs, with a major one being the fact that as soon as she sees the Doctor, she immediately blocks him, whereas when she sees Ruby, on the other hand, who is white and not black, she decides to give her the time of day, maybe just to indulge her a little bit, even though she still thinks that she's above them because she's rich. It's also a sort of commentary on, I suppose, young social class. It's like those TV shows where I think it's Rich Kids Go Skin, where they think, oh my god, I don't know how you could live like this, and they're also high and mighty. But anyway, we're getting off track. And then straight after that, we've got, oh my god, you guys are in the same room. She's shocked to think that a white woman would be in the same room as a black man. It's all there. It's just at the time we think maybe this is just some kind of strange classism. It's not. It's racism underpinning it all. The only thing I really don't like about this whole thing is that Lindy is not a likeable character in the slightest. I mean, of course, she's not a likeable character because she's racist, but I feel like if she was a likeable character before that racial element was revealed, at least semi-likeable, because she's just very, very annoying and constantly putting other people down, calling them stupid, etc., maybe if she was just a slight bit likeable, it would make it so we hate her even more by the end. It's like, I was rooting for you to get out. I wanted you to survive. Now I don't really care. Of course, there is that element still, but we don't really want her to survive anyway, as cruel as that is, because she's not that nice. She's a horrid person. And now they're going and acting like they're going to be pioneers in the outside world. They're not. They're going to die instantly. They can't even walk forward without being told that by a machine. It's ridiculous. Maybe if more of them were like Ricky September, people who like to learn outside of the bubble, like to read history, like to learn things for themselves, maybe if more of them were like him, they would have a chance of survival. But they don't, because they're ignorant and they want to be shut inside of their own circles, their own bubbles, and not be open to anything new and radical. One thing I don't really understand is why they wanted to continue the fine time way of life on the outside, when it was literally fine time technology that was trying to kill them, because the Dots were essentially just really, really angry and annoyed at the fact that they had to listen to these young millennials constantly going on and on and on with each other, annoyingly chatting and making faces and TikTok dances and all that. And to be honest, if I was that kind of technology, I would get annoyed as well. But even after it tries to kill them by making them walk into slugs, and if they don't adhere to that and walk into the slugs, then they just kill them outright themselves as the Dot. Why would you want to continue that way of life? It just seems... maybe it's just a commentary on how stupid they are, but honestly, I'm not too sure. Let's talk about probably the best performance that we've ever had from Gatwa at the end of the episode. It's a shame that he's not in it that much. I mean, he was off filming Sex Education during this, so he didn't have much screen time, and it was just at the end, but what he did give was absolutely fantastic. His performance is just amazing to see, the absolute shock he has that the reason they're not accepting his help, he's not even mad that they're not accepting his help because of racial issues. He's mad that that's the reason why they don't want to accept help. He wants to save everyone, even if they're a complete and total arsehole. It doesn't matter what your worldview is. It doesn't matter what you think of him. He will try and help you no matter what. So the very fact that the one thing stopping them from being saved is their racism is what annoys him the most, not the racism itself. Just shows how amazing the Doctor is. And the fact that Gatwa can get that across so well. It's one of the best performances, single scene performances we've ever seen from a Doctor, and I'd say it's definitely up there with the majority of 12 speeches. I do what I do because it's right. All we need to do is sit down and talk to prevent wars. It's just amazing. Other than that, I don't really have too much to say or criticise. What really does carry the story is its themes and its commentary on the real world. As with most Russell stories, it has some kind of story behind it that at the end, like all good Russell stories, at the end you think, wow, this has been going on throughout the entire thing and I had absolutely no idea. I am shocked, I am bewildered. My God, I was not expecting that. One thing that I missed from the last video, based on 73 yards, was the fact that Susan Twist is finally being recognised, and in this we get a full confrontation of that, where here she's Lindy's mum, and the both of them recognised, though Ruby not so much since that timeline was kind of erased, whereas the Doctor has been noticing throughout and only here fully calls her out. Honestly, what was at first glance a very mid-story turned out to be, as the title says, quite masterful and a great commentary on noticing signs of racism before they fully pop up. Because all the signs were there, and even though most of us probably thought, okay, that's a bit weird of you to say on some of the lines, such as not recognising the Doctor and going, oh, I thought they just looked the same, it's actually the same person, that's a strange line, didn't really twig at first. And then, of course, them being grossed out at the fact that they're in the same room together, she immediately blocks the Doctor, and that all the citizens are white. None of them are any kind of other race, they're just singularly white. I knew eventually we'd get some kind of episode with racism in it. It's a given, it's the first Black Doctor, it's something that you have to address. It's like when the Doctor became a woman, there were some episodes where that kind of underpinned them, and it's going, well, I could have done this when I was a man, that's a big shame, but we move past it, we find a way around it, and we don't give in to people's persecutions. I expected this kind of thing to come from the next episode, Rogue, the 18th century Bridgerton type thing. Of course, Bridgerton's a show that has a multiracial cast, so it's not something that happens in that, but I expected it to come from Rogue, being the old-timey piece, not something that seems from the far future, and that is the beauty of the twist. But anyway guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this reaction then make sure to leave a like and subscribe down below as it really helps out the channel. And if you're new here, make sure to check out some of my other content, particularly my stuff into Doctor Who's history and the History of series, where we take a deep dive into specific areas of Doctor Who's history. But, as always, thanks for watching.